And then we're going to talk about one main important coverage, okay, that many of us don't have. I guarantee you, many of us will have probably one of the 8 that we'll mention tonight. But that 9th one, I guarantee you that many does not have that, but they may have some of this other coverage, okay? Alrighty, so as a business owner, there are many requirements, as we mentioned, that we are required to have and that we should have too, right? Okay. Now, there are some that's required and we are dead set on making sure that these coverages are in place. And then again, there are some that, we'll just let go and hopefully nothing happens, right? Well, that's not the right way to be doing business. And if you're in business, you want to be protected. Okay? So, as a business owner, there are several types of business policies you should consider protecting yourself and your business. Now, I'm going to give you a list of some that is most common types of insurance for business owners, okay? So the first one is going to be your general liability, okay? Your general liability. Now, as you're thinking, or as I'm mentioning these coverages and what they are, I want you to think about any other business that we visit, right? So when we think about that, just think of any store that you want. I won't mention a particular store, but just say a store. But you also want to think about your business, okay? Treat your business as you would any other business, big or small, okay? You all need a protection, okay? So, general liability insurance is a type of insurance that covers claims for bodily injury or property damage caused by your business operation. So, if you're in business and you cause bodily injury or property damage, you or your worker, okay, your business, you are liable. You need general liability insurance to protect you from that, okay? From the claim or the cost of a lawsuit, right? You want to make sure that you have those coverages in place. So it's no different. The coverages that we're talking about is the same coverage that our big companies have, okay? Your grocery stores, your mom and pops, hopefully. Anywhere that you go in, hopefully they have this type of coverage, because if they have caused bodily injury or property damage by someone, they too need to be covered, okay, in event of a claim. So remember that's your general liability, your GL. Let's give an example. I want to leave you with some examples so you can think. So you take a lawn care. We insure lawn care guys and gals in our agency. And they may have general liability, so that we would do general liability for them. So what could be something that they could be liable for? Well, so say that my lawn care guy is cutting grass and he throws a rock. The lawnmower throws a rock and hit the window. Now, we're not talking about any window. It could or it could not be. But let's just say this is an expensive window that he cracked, shattered, and the business owner, the owner of the home or the property they want their window to be fixed, right? So what happens? If they have general liability, because they are liable, right? They are liable because of this thing that has happened. So this would be property damage caused by the business operation. Now, I tell you something. There are a lot of small businesses. You just don't think, one, that you need coverage. You need coverage. I don't care what it is that you're doing. You need to be protected. I don't care if you're selling hot dogs. You have a business license and you're selling hot dogs to the public. You need liability insurance. So the same coverage that we want McDonald's to have if we eat their sandwich and we say that it made us sick, right? Food poisoning. So All of this thing, you have to think about that when it comes to your business. Okay, because you want to be covered for those same things as any other big business. Don't lowball and take your own business for granted. It's not if it would happen, it's going to be when an accident or a claim arrives. And you want to be rested at night, knowing that if I am caused liable, if I'm deemed liable, I don't want to pay for this. I want the insurance company to take on the risk. That's what we're talking about. All right. So I'll give you another example of the lawn guy. So say that the lawn guy, he cuts a tree, but he cut the wrong tree down. That's just about like a doctor cutting off the wrong leg, right? It happens. So that's medical malpractice on the doctor. Same thing. So now this person is upset and they say you cut the wrong tree and this tree cost $1,000. The tree was growing for 50 years. Grandmama planted the tree. How are you going to reimburse them for that? How are you going to reimburse them for that? So these are the type of things that you need to consider when you are talking about general liability. Let's take our hairstylist for a moment. I go in, I want black in my hair, and when it gets finished, I have a burn mark or whatever. Liability. Always think of liability as you being liable for something and you being protected against it. So remember that. Okay? Alrighty. Now, you have your professional liability insurance, also known as errors and omission. In my world, we call it E&O insurance. So this type of insurance protects your business from claims of professional negligence. As an insurance agent, insurance professional, I am required to have E&O insurance. I'm required to have errors and omissions. I cause an error, right? So you have all of the insurance companies that I write for, Progressive and Surety and Illinois and all of these carriers that I write for, auto, home, life, health, medical, disability, all these carriers, they require that I have E&O insurance. They're not going to take on the risk of my error. I'm going to have to file that on my insurance. No different than a doctor having to go on his malpractice insurance. Okay? All right. So the third one is going to be property insurance. So this is going to cover damages to your business property, including your building, your equipment, and your inventory. Okay? So property insurance. So if you own a business and you own the actual structure, you want to make sure that your building is insured. Just as well as if you rent that building out to an individual, maybe you're an investor and you have investment properties and you want to rent this building out to individuals for their business. You still want to have coverage on your building because the tenant, they're not responsible for your building. Okay? They are not responsible for your building. You are responsible for your building. And in insurance, you're not supposed to insure any property that is not yours. Okay? If I'm giving any good tips here tonight, please, as we are talking about business insurance, the types of insurance that it is, and what you should have in place as a business owner. Okay? So we're going back to your property insurance. You got your building insured because you're the owner of the building. Okay. Now, if you rent a building, that owner of that building is going to require that you have general liability insurance because, again, he's not or she does not want to take on the risk. They don't want to take on the risk of you having your business to cause bodily injury or property damage to someone, and it falls on them. So what do? We protect our business. And we protect our inventory and our equipment and all of those things with property insurance. And again, if you own a building, you as the owner and you rent this building out, you should be requiring that your tenant has general liability insurance and list you as the additional insured. So property insurance, you want to cover your equipment and you want to cover your inventory. Okay? You want to make sure that these things are covered. Again, it's not when, it's not if it's going to happen. It's when will it happen? We have no idea. We have no idea when. Okay? Not at all. Okay? All righty. So you want to make sure, again, as a business owner, you have your property insured. Now, workers' comp insurance. Okay? If you have employees, you're required by law to have this type of insurance to cover medical expenses and lost wages in event of a work-related injury or illness. Now, I can only talk for Georgia. That's where I'm from. How many people I have in here from Georgia? 3 or more workers. Okay? 3 or more workers, including the owner, is required to have workers' comp. All right. So we all know what workers' comp is. Workers' comp is going to give coverage, medical and loss of wages in the event of a work-related injury or illness. Okay, so if any of you are coming in for the first time tonight, just reset the room. I'm Cynthia Scott with Cynthia Scott Insurance Agency here in the great state of Georgia, where we do all insurance, particularly personal insurance like your life insurance, your disability insurance, but we do all here in Georgia. We do the liability, the professional liability insurance, the property insurance, and the workers' comp insurance. All of these coverages we do. And what we're talking about tonight is we are discussing the business insurance types, what you should have as a business owner, what type of insurance should you have in place for your business. Okay? If this information is interesting to you and you think it'll be interesting to one of your friends, please share this video. Okay, share the video and have them to just look into these things. Okay, if you want to learn more about us and learn more about the things that we offer, you can reach us out. Our name and number is in the chat. Okay, all righty. Business interruption insurance. This is number 5. Business interruption insurance. What in the world is that? Well, this is going to provide coverage for the loss of income and expenses if your business is unable to operate due to a covered event, such as a natural disaster, a fire, a storm, right? That prevents you from being able to operate. Okay? Give you an example. So if you have business interruption insurance and your building catch fire and you're unable to work, unable to operate, this is where business interruption insurance will come in place. Now, here's the thing. And it's not just if your business catch fire. You know, this goes for an individual who is renting a building. You're renting, so don't forget. You know, you have your contents covered in your inventory, okay, and your liability. But don't forget business interruption insurance. Anything can happen. A vehicle, a car can go into your building and it has you shut down for 5, 6, a week or 2. Never know. It's preventing you from working, from operating, okay? So, loss of income if your business is unable to operate due to a covered event, okay? Fire, a storm, a natural disaster, okay? Those things could prevent you from working and operating, okay? All right, now you have your cyber liability insurance. This type of insurance covers losses caused by data breaches, hacking, and other cyber-related events. If your business collects individuals' data, you take me as an insurance professional, you have a lot of people's information, okay? A lot of people's information. You know, one great thing about it is for me, and I don't just depend on that because at some point I could be held liable, okay? But all of my carriers, their system is set up, is designed, to protect it for this cyber stuff, right? These breaches and hacking. But what if someone hacks mine in my agency, okay? At the agency, What that doesn't fall on Progressive, and that doesn't fall on the other carriers that we write for. Okay, that's not their fault. So cyber liability insurance, that is another coverage that individuals want to have in their business. Okay, now your commercial auto insurance. So if you or your employee uses your vehicle for business purposes, running to the bank, going picking up a client, this type of insurance provides coverage for accident, injuries, and property damage. So you want to check with your state, okay? Make sure that you're, and I just think that is universal, right? So if you are using your vehicle for business use, you need commercial auto insurance. You can't be you can't be using your car delivering pizza. That doesn't work. 9 out of 10, depending on your policy, claim denied. Okay? So you want to make sure that you are protected correctly. Okay? Running errands with your vehicle related to your business. Just make sure that your auto policy is on the right paper. That's all the insurance companies want. Okay? So if you have personal and you have commercial. And many times on the commercial side, you can say, well, I use the vehicle for both personal and business, and you cover it both ways. But the broadest coverage is commercial. So you're going to be covered for that, and then going here and there, personal use. So make sure that you're not out there using your vehicle for business purposes and not be covered correctly if you should have a commercial auto policy. Now, granted, commercial typically cost a little bit more, but I rather pay more on the front end than to have to pay it on the back end. Because if you're out there running your business, delivering food, and you're not covered correctly, and you have an accident, and that's not covered on your, and you were covered a vehicle who does not have, they said they were using their vehicle just to go home, school, pick up the kids, go to work. They had no idea you were out there delivering pizza. They had no idea that you were letting the other employees drive the vehicle and going from A to B and A to Z a lot of times. It's not covered correctly. You want to make sure that you have these business insurance types in place. Claims rep ask you where you been. I've been to the bank. Been to the bank for the office. And number 8, you want to have umbrella insurance. Now, umbrella, we know mostly we use it for the rain, but umbrella has there's a type of policy that's called umbrella insurance. And what does that do? This is going to provide additional liability cover beyond the limits of your other insurance policies. Now, when you talk about umbrella policies, normally you have to ask your agent about that, but you typically have to have a certain amount of coverage already, like on your auto and your home, in order to qualify for umbrella. Okay, so here in the state of Georgia, typically if you have like just your basic limits of insurance, here we are required to have 25, 50, 25 on our auto. And if you want umbrella, you're going to have to take that coverage up. You're going to have to take it up because they, again, they don't want to take on all the risk either of giving you $1 million umbrella policy and you don't have 25 on your auto policy, or 50,000 or 100,000 on your liability for your home, right? So they want you to have broader coverage already, and then you can do the umbrella insurance, and this will provide additional liability coverage extending from what you already have. Okay. All right. So I just gave you 8 different types of insurance policies you should consider to protect yourself and your business as a business owner. And again, many of these coverages does not only mean if you own the building. Okay. We've already discussed that. Owning the building is one thing. You may own it and rent it out. There are some responsibilities on your part, and there are some responsibilities that you should set on your tenant's part, okay? And then you have all the coverages that you should have as a business owner, okay? As a business owner. Being in business is very challenging. I understand that. And sometimes, you want to take shortcuts. If it was so easy and sometimes not so pricey, so many people would do it, right? So many people would do it. But because there are certain things that we should have in place, and there are certain coverages, and it starts to add up. And then you find out that business is real serious. These are the things that you need to have in place in event of a loss. Okay, again, we're establishing the first beginning what insurance is. Insurance is the insurance company taking on the risk. Okay, so with that being said, would you just rather pay a premium? And I understand you may never use the coverage, may never, but it's an event of. There's nothing we can do. We don't know how life is going to treat us in the personal, and we have no idea how life is going to treat us in the business. All I can say is be ye also ready, that when something happens that you are prepared. You can't do it after. You can't do it after the claim. You can't call me up and say, hey, Cynthia, I had someone to just fall on the floor, and I had some water down there and they fell on the floor. And now you want to don't call me. Don't call me with that, because we're discussing the things that you should have in place prior to. If nothing never happens and you've been in business for 50 years, thank God. If something happens as soon as you get in business and you have coverage, thank God. Thank God that you heard Cynthia Scott talking about this one day and you've been in business. You said, I think I better get some of that liability insurance. I run this lawn care business, and it's just been by the grace of God that I hadn't cut down the wrong tree, or I haven't put the wrong fertilizer on that grass and it killed the whole lawn. That kind of stuff can happen, and you're going to be liable. You're going to be liable in event that you cause property damage or bodily injury to someone or to their property. Okay. And we just here just discussing, just giving you some thoughts and some ideas and some information that you can take back to your business owner. If you're not in the business, your business owner, friend, relative, whomever. Okay. And it's very, very important that you protect yourself and you protect your business. Okay. I mean, what's the whole point? You have your business. Business is an LLC. You want to have all the liability passed from you to the business. But what good does that do if you don't have liability insurance? You just have an LLC with no insurance. Okay? So don't think because you have an LLC that it just bypasses you and it goes to the business and the business doesn't have coverage, and who are you going to sue? Okay? The best thing to do is to have coverage in place so that you can pass on to the insurance company. Okay? So here's the last coverage that I want to talk to you about tonight. It is one of my favorite. I talked to so many business owners from A to Z about this last subject, the last coverage that we want to talk about. So a lot of these things are required. Again, you own the building, you're required to have it. If you rent the building, the landlord is going to require that you have the coverage. And they're going to be, they want to get the certificate. They want to be listed as additional insured. They want a copy of it. Renewal comes up. They're like 3 months before. Have they renewed the policy? They want to make sure that they cover their business is, their building is covered. Okay. And you should do the same for your things. Okay. But the last one that I want to talk to you about that is very, very, very important. You all may hear me talk about it all the time, and that is disability income insurance. Now, many business owners does not have anything like that in place either. It's not required, though you may own a building and finance it, and the bank requires that you protect that building for the next 20 years. You may rent a building, and the owner requires that you have liability insurance, and you list them as the additional insurers because they don't want it passed on to them. Workers' comp. Your state will require that you have workers' comp insurance. Business interruption is optional, okay? But disability income insurance is not required, though it is missed and is needed in many of the businesses. Disability income insurance is protects your income in event that the business owner or individual worker becomes disabled. Okay, so we're talking about business owners tonight. So if you as a business owner become disabled, you will have disability income insurance protection in place that will pay you 60, 65, sometimes 70% of your income in event of that disability. Okay, so that is a disability that is caused by an accident or an injury on or off the job that will prevent you from working, bringing in an income to take care of your family. Okay, that's the last one that I want to talk about, disability income insurance. So if any of this is interesting to you, you want to learn more, you can click the link, Disability Insurance Queen. Fill out a short form. We can share more information, let you know what that disability income insurance will look like for you. Protecting your income, which is your greatest asset. Okay, we have all these business things in place and protected from everything. But if you go out of work and you are deemed totally disabled or partially disabled, how would you make ends meet? You can't go to the liability insurance policy for that. You can't go to the professional. You can't go to the workers' comp. Well, if the injury happens on the job, right, or the sickness happens on the job, depending on what kind of sickness it is, but it's work related, yeah, you can do that. But now most business owners are not covered on the workers' comp, okay? So, disability income insurance, it should be top of your list to protect your income in event of a disability due to an injury or an illness, okay? So, these are the top 9 business insurance types that you need, that you should have. All right, so if you want to learn more, our number is in the chat. You can let us know. You can click the link above. You can send us an email, send us a chat, fill out the short form, and we will be sure to give you a call, right? We can have the discussion on what it will look like that you could protect your income, along with some of these other coverages if I'm in your state, okay? All righty, so if that is it, I'm going to let you guys and gals go. I thank you so much for visiting us tonight. We'll be back later in the week to discuss more about disability income protection and for business owners and individuals, okay? All righty, so share this information with a friend. Like, follow, and share, okay? All right, so Cynthia Scott with Cynthia Scott Insurance Agency, your insurance professional. Take care out there, stay safe, and we'll see you soon.